Welcome back. It's time to finally make this profile update work and connect it to our backend. Let's go back to our front end, and in our profile.js, let's do a few things. First, I want to make sure that whenever we update our input here, we also update the state of our app. So going back, once again, I'm going to do a new method here and change this stateless function into a class component. Now, I could just create the function out here, but I like using class components or class declaration whenever we have other methods that we want to use. So class extends, or class profile extends react.component. This is going to have a render. Let's bring all of this inside the render. I'm just going to minimize it so we can see it better. That's a lot better. And we also want to have a constructor that will receive props, super props. And in here, we'll say that this.state. And this is going to be interesting, and we're going to talk about this a little bit. I'm going to have name equal to this.props.user.name. And if you're wondering why we do props for constructor and super, and sometimes we don't, well, if you ever want to use this.props inside of the constructor, this is what you need to do. And we are in this case, so that's why we're doing this. All right, so we have username. We also have age. That is props.user.age. And we also have pet. This.props.user.pet. All right, what am I doing here? Why are we creating a state when these are already props? Why not just update the state where these things actually exist? And if you remember, when we go to app.js, if we scroll all the way up to our state, well, we already have all the user information here. Why don't we just update this and have an event in profile that triggers app to re-render? And here I want to demonstrate some good practices of thinking in terms of React and how it works. You see, with forms, there's a lot of instances where I can just have a user just keep typing. And that causes a re-render because state is being updated. And every time we update on change, an input, it re-renders the component and all the components underneath it. Now, because app is at our top level, as soon as we update the state, it's going to re-render everything underneath it. And that's just a waste. And with form, this is good practice. That is, if you have a form, have a state that the form keeps, and as soon as the user clicks submit or does some sort of an action that is important, then we update the state so that we keep all the state updates as the user is typing within here and only update the general big state that is in the app.js after the user has confirmed that, all right, this is my name, this is age, this is pet, and we don't have to update state every time they make a mistake, for example. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's handle what we call a on-form change. And this on-form change is going to accept an event. And this is just typical event handling that we do with React. I can do an if statement here, but just for fun, let's just do a switch statement that does an event.target.name. And this is going to handle based on the name of the target. And if you remember, we scroll down, we've given input different names: user age, username, user pet. So based on those inputs, I can say Now let's minimize this just to look cleaner. I'm going to say that if case is user name, in that case, I want you to update this dot set state with name to equal the event dot target dot value. And we can break there. Otherwise, with case user age, in that case, we'll just this dot set state the age. Event dot target dot value. Again, break. And then finally, our last case, we'll do a case user pet, this dot set state to be pet equaling whatever the event dot target dot value is. Whew. Then we'll obviously do a break, and we'll always add a default that just simply returns. Not deturns, returns. All right, let's save this. And we have a few errors here. Let's see what we've done. User is not defined, user is not defined. Well, because we need to make sure that within the render, if we can open it, within the render, we're using the user.entry. So let's do a const user from the this.props. Let's save. All right, and we have a few things. We have returns, oops, switch statement, make sure I fix that. And then we also have toggle modal is not defined. Again, we need to make sure that we now, within the toggle modal, call this dot props dot toggle modal and this dot props dot toggle modal, because it's, well, not a stateless function like we had it before. If we save, all right, everything is passing. If we go back to our app, sign in with our good friend A, sign in, and we go to the profile, update the name, open up the console. All right, no errors, that's good. But wouldn't it be nice if we type here and this name also gets updated? And remember, we're in our own state here. Before we actually hit save, we haven't really updated the state in the app.js. But within the form, it'll be nice to be able to change the username to see how it displays. So we can do that by going back to our profile. Let's make this a little bit smaller. And now the user name here that we use can instead be this dot state dot user. Let's save this, go back, have to sign in once again, go to view profile, type something, but now we see that we don't have the username. Oh, and silly me, it's not user, it's name. Remember, our state just has name, age, and pet. Let's save. And then the final thing we want to do is actually call this on form change event. Now, where should we call that? Well, for each input, we can just say that there's an on change that takes the this dot on form change event. Again, I'm just going to copy and paste this to all the inputs. Let's save. And let's see if this finally works. Sign in again, because we do that all the time. Sign in, view profile, start typing. Look at that. Our event is being fired. We're never updating the app state. We're only re-rendering just this little tiny portion that we need to. But as soon as I click save, I want to make sure that this name gets updated. So let's finish this off by doing a post request with this information that we have in the form state. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.